Yes, if I could, I have two things. The first is personal. I've had some medical issues and two family members are coming. I haven't been able to fully prepare for their arrival, which will be about 6. So I need to not attend the building meeting. I wanted to attend for the special board meeting because I'd like to make a motion that we approve payment in the amount of $903.85 for our credit card debt. That was among the items we listed in the finance meeting in the last board meeting, but we did not have an amount. So we need to specifically approve it for payment. So that's my motion, that we pay for our credit card debt, $903.85.
Is there a second? Evelyn seconds. And all those against? All those abstaining? All those in favor?
In favor.
Aye.
Motion carries. I do want to mention that Joy is exploring the possibility of getting the date of the bill changed so that we don't have to go through making these exceptions in the future.
Thanks, Joy. Quick question. How do you want me to note that? Should I add it as an addendum to the meeting minutes? Should I do it as a separate thing? I mean, it really doesn't fall as part of the building committee. I mean,
No, this is a special board meeting
right.
specifically for the purpose of approving the credit card. So it would be a separate minutes. I think I did those last time, Michelle. I don't think you were here.
Okay.
Okay, so it's oh, it's only 4:04.
It's a very efficient meeting.
One more
I would
minute.
propose that we close the special board meeting.
Okay,
Second,
Make a motion that we close the special board meeting.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries to close the board meeting.
Yes, I'm very sorry to have to leave. I've had a conversation with Marie about it, but I really need to. So I'm sorry I'm not staying for the meeting, but good day to everybody. Thank you very much.
You too, both. Thank you. And we'll
Enjoy your visit with your relatives, and I did appreciate your joke about my flowers. I was just muted and you couldn't hear me laughing.
Well, you come in style, Marie. It's a very nice style.
I never know when they're going to be there.
Okay. If it's okay, everyone, then I think we'd start with the building committee meeting, if that's all right. And I did send out a draft agenda, and Marie did offer a few additional items for the agenda on some upcoming events. And so we could, Marie, do you think this would fit in best at the beginning or at the end? Any recommendations when you'd like to see these additional items included?
I was thinking perhaps at the end so that we, could be sure to cover the topics that you have listed.
Okay, very good. And then I think I've resorted this a little bit to move the Lansingburg branch items to the top of the agenda, and then move on to the main branch, and then close out with the historic structures report conversation for our most regular sort of pieces we talk about. Specifically, we've got the 2019 Library Construction Award piece that we have gotten those funds now. And I understand that we're in the process of soliciting firm proposals to do that work. And Paul, I was wanting to see if there are any updates on those proposals.
We haven't bid this job yet.
Okay. Do we have an idea when that might go out to bid?
Yeah, we probably, well, obviously we can't do the job until the weather is a little bit better. But I thought too, in bidding it, people might want to get up there. I think we can get ready, to get the scope of work and the bids out in mid-March.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we don't want people crawling around on the roof there and
Yeah.
imperiling themselves on wet, slippery roofing. So that's sounds prudent.
So that's a change from the last meeting because the notes have it as the end of February.
Yes, yeah, that's what we had anticipated.
So I'll change it to bid by mid-March.
Yeah, we're gonna move that to at least mid-March.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll issue notes to reflect that change. Yeah, we had the flood repair where we got some modest reimbursement from the insurance company for flood damage at Lansingburg. We said we were going to hold on the wainscot until additional funds came available, but I think we said we're going to proceed. We had requests for proposals out for the floor fixes at Lansingburg. Did we get any proposals, Paul?
Yeah, we have a proposal from a local company for 3,800, and that includes both the floor and the wainscoting. So I said that was great, and we're ready to move ahead. He can start the week of March 8th, he says.
So 3,800.
Yeah,
And has the contract been signed with them? Are you anticipating coming forward with a proposal? What's the next step in the
the
process?
contract is signed and he's ready to go on March 8th.
Name of the contractor?
What's that?
The name of the contractor?
Isn't it Upstate Construction? Is it,
Yeah, I'm trying to
wasn't
remember.
it Upstate Construction?
Yeah, was it in the last meeting?
I apologize. You mean the last board meeting?
The last building committee meeting? I don't
I
know. I
didn't
don't
think
have
it
it in
was.
front of me. I forgot.
It wasn't Upstate Construction, Paul?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
I'm doing it by memory, so I could be wrong.
MORIN is the owner's name. This was a recommendation from TAP. I reached out to them looking for a local contractor that would be able to handle the work, and this is their recommendation. And so we are proceeding.
And I apologize. Maybe I looked at the wrong set of minutes when I
That was
updated this.
building committee meeting anyway. As I said, it does include, both repairs, both the floor and the wainscoting.
Thank you. That's good news. At the main branch, we had said that Debrino has been signed up to do the east wall and the north wall, and that they'd gotten authorization to proceed. They've got their contract signed. So I think the last time we spoke, we just said we're really waiting for weather to open up.
Yep, they expect that they'll be working mid-April at this point.
Great. Start work mid-April. And that's, of course, weather depending, of course.
Okay, so that's a delay. I have April begin or before from last time.
I'm sorry, what?
I think last time we said it was the beginning of April or earlier.
Well, it's definitely going to be April.
So should I change it to mid-April?
I guess.
I think it's going to come down to weather as we get closer here.
Weather's been pretty good so far. Recently.
Okay. We talked about the $15,000 Preservation League grant. There's no action on that at this time. Really, just that'll track down with our historic structures report as that process moves along. I guess the next one would be the public library construction grant, which had been given for the reading room plaster and the kitchen floor slab. I know Upper Hudson had given us a support on that, and I don't think we'd heard final response yet from SCD. Has there been any update on that?
Yeah, we kind of hit a snag last week. I thought that it would be at DASNY by now, but it's not. There were some changes that we needed to make to the original grant application, and also changes to the estimate that we have. So I worked with Bill and Tim Burke at Upper Hudson, and we refiled some of the paperwork, and I think it's good. But apparently those grants have not gone to DASNY yet for final review. So I think it's a little behind.
So Upper Hudson has some changes they wanted made.
I'm sorry?
Upper Hudson has some changes they wanted made.
No, the state education department had changes they wanted to make.
So that goes from Upper Hudson to state education department, and then it goes to DASNY for.
It's the Division for Library Development, as part of the state education department, oversees this grant process. And it's the Division for Library Development that had some questions and knew that DASNY would definitely have those questions. And so they kicked it back to us to make some of the changes.
Okay,
Which we did.
thank you.
So did things go up, down?
No, it's just a clarification
Uh-huh.
of things. Almost entirely due to my fault, I think. When I originally wrote the budget narrative, I had specified what the contingency would be used for, and we had to get back and change some things so that everything was clear.
Yeah, it's interesting how sometimes the choice of wording will vary from individual to individual at the state. So,
well, that's the thing. I mean, they're very strict on this in terms of. I had actually our contractor had put in the word repair.
oh no, yeah,
Yeah, which is a no-no, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they knew that to be kicked back, so we had to take that repair out and put in reconstruction or some other thing.
yes, yeah. That's a word to be avoided with SED for sure.
Yeah.
Repair is not aidable. Yes. Good. Well, I'm glad that SED was kind enough to give you a heads up on that rather than sending you a rejection notice out of hand,
Right.
and to allow you to update the grant application. And so it sounds like they had some requests, you made the changes, you sent it back to them, and hopefully that'll go smoothly and go to SED from there. Good, good. Okay, okay. Well, thanks for the update on that. Appreciate it. And hopefully have any funds been issued out of that fund yet? Or has they made no determinations across the state yet?
Yeah, that has to be completed before funds become available.
But isn't it that there's a,
Because that's an inside job, we could have done that, but it's not, it's not ready to be funded yet.
but we think that there are funds still available. The fund has not yet been depleted.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Good. Marie had prepared a
Could
capital
we,
project. I'm
could
sorry.
we do the historic structure report status?
Sure, sure. Okay, we can circle back to that piece there. Just going to highlight a little reminder for myself here on this, my notes. Oops, highlight. There we go.
Did I take you away from the next thing on your agenda?
Yeah, that's okay.
No, because I thought you were moving on to something of mine, so.
This is an item that you brought up previously, and I just wanted to circle
Oh.
back to, you had made some updates on that, but we can do that afterwards.
No, that's okay. I thought you were moving off your agenda, so
No,
That's fine.
just right before the main branch historic structures report, there is a line item there for the capital grant summary, capital project grant summary, which you have prepared so kindly, and you had done some updates on that. I just want to let people know that you had done updates to keep that summary current.
and I'm doing so right now also.
Okay, is there, you want to say any more about that, or you just leave it at that?
I'm just updating it with the new information from this meeting. So it'll probably take me a little while to formally get them in so they look better.
Well, this is all happening in real time here. Pretty exciting. Well, thank you. And if you just keep us posted as that, when that's been formatted and is ready for prime time.
Okay,
Um,
it should be done within a week, if
Thank
not
you.
before.
Okay. Then moving on to the historic structures report for the main branch. We had gotten an initial contract from Misico and Wilson Baker. I took a look at it, and there are a few things that we talked about during the interview that I thought were pretty clear on, and that was of interest to parties from the library, having to do with investigations and testing. I think we teased through that pretty closely in our interview. And a few things in the contract that I saw looked like they were not clear on that topic. And so I asked them to make a few changes in that contract to address that. We met, had a good conversation, and then they agreed that they had sort of struggled with that portion of what we had talked about and how to tease that out. So there were a few changes they made to the contract, and they've resent the contract to us. So I was okay with what I saw in that revised draft contract. And then I think, Paul, we were going to send it on to council for their review.
yes, that's been done.
And they'll hopefully let us know if they have any concerns, and that'll hopefully be able to move along quickly then. Has Misico and Wilson Baker, have they moved on with next steps and in progressing the project while waiting for the final contract to be resolved?
Yeah, the scanning of the interior has been completed.
Wow. Okay, well, and weren't they looking at historic documents as well?
They haven't really done too much of that. I sent them a couple of documents that we had, the history documents that we had, but they haven't done a whole lot yet on that.
Did they give you any hint about next steps or what they anticipate happening?
I guess we haven't talked about that because we haven't had a signed contract yet.
A lot of firms will proceed based on the letter of intent. So the letter of intent, yeah, I think everyone
That
is,
they do have.
well, I would encourage them to, proceed, and let's talk about next steps here so we can start to plan those next steps out based on the letter of intent. And then SHPO and New York State Preservation League have asked to be advised of this contract. So once we get the contract, I'll assume we'll just share it out with SHPO and the Preservation League there once we get that.
The Preservation League needs the contract in order to release the funds to us.
Right. And I assume they want to see a signed contract, not a draft of the contract. Is that safe to say, Marie?
I assume so. They didn't specifically say, but since they didn't say, I assume that it means that they want to see the signed contract. And just so I understand, so the current status is that the contract is with the lawyers, correct?
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, any other things on the historic structures report we want to touch base on at this time? Okay. The Knox box, the secure key device for the exterior of the building. I have assembled the materials now. I've got the tooling in progress, and I've one more hole to drill, and then start cutting. I'll cut things to length then, and I anticipate a test fitting this weekend. So that should be, I'm anticipating that will go well. And then I think, Paul, do we want to do a review with the fire department before we do final fitting and installation?
I think they're good with, they've just given us some basic guidelines, which is to put it in plain sight and, attach it properly and not too high. And yeah, I think they're good. to
Okay,
go.
well, I'll do the test fitting, and then I'll review it with you, make sure that this is consistent with your understanding of what the fire department wants. And then I'll, do the final fitting, final finishing, and I'll work to get that installation complete. But once it's installed, it'll be a very permanent installation. So I just want to make sure it fits first before we finalize that and make sure everyone's happy with it before it gets final bolted to the wall. So I'll do a test fitting this weekend, and then Paul, I'll reach out to you to take a look at that, make sure that this is consistent with what you talked about with the fire department. Okay. Does anyone else want to see it before it gets final fitted to the wall?
I can't wait until it gets final fitted to the wall.
Okay. We're getting closer, so like I said, hopefully the next couple week or two we'll be able to have that finalized.
And at least you have decent weather now to be working on the outside.
Okay, then I guess we can then move on to new business. If there are, that sounds like this would be the time then for items that Marie had shared out.
Several things had just come up recently. One was that Paul was contacted by the Gilded Age folks because they want to film the exterior of the building on June 10th. This was discussed with a prior board previously. Now, Paul, you said that they want a response as soon as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to get this nailed down. This is going to involve, the whole street, Second Street. So they kind of want to get everything nailed down.
So they're going to close the street regardless of what we say, right?
Yes. They have to put down cobblestones, like fake ones. I don't know what, I don't even know what that means. But they put down cobblestones. Yeah, they close off the street. I don't know how far down. I assume at least a block down from us, south of us.
Right, because I think they're filming the courthouse too, the
Yeah,
last I heard.
I think they may go all up into the next block. So there's going to be quite a bit of it closed off.
I think there was something about the music hall as well.
Yeah,
Maybe that was for interior.
I don't know. Could be.
What do they require from us, or what are they requesting from us? Or are they just letting us know this is happening?
Well, they want to film the outside. They want to use the outside of the building as, I think it's some kind of a club. Anyway, so what they have to do some of the modifications to the building that they need before filming. They have to take down those two big announcement boards. They have to take out all of the bicycle repair stuff and the bicycle racks and the book return.
They're not going to move the planters.
Yeah, the planters too. Yeah, they have to take those, but those aren't ours anyway.
But they are Troy Bloom, so
Yeah.
Have they
So
requested
those
us?
modifications they have to do before filming. So, they need us on board, and they need, contract signed. And they also pledged to put everything back the way it was. Sometimes it's even better than it was in these filmings.
Have they requested that we close for the day?
Well,
That was the
Um,
last
you
issue.
sort of talked about working around that, which may be a bit difficult. Now, you don't forget, they'll be working a day or two before on the whole area. And then they'll be working again after. Now, the actual filming is on the 10th. So that really affects us a great deal. Although even the other 2 days, it's kind of difficult to get access because the street will be still closed off.
And the 10th is a Thursday.
What's that?
The 10th is a Thursday, I think.
Yeah,
So does that mean we're affected then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in terms of entry into the building?
well, the big problem is the 10th, because they're actually filming the front of the building. So they don't want us to have people going in and out the front of the building. We could use the Ferry Street door and tell people, you have to go around. And they understand that there could be interruptions sometimes. So they're kind of used to that. So we talked about the library technically being open that day, which is possible. But otherwise, yeah, it's going to be difficult for at least 3 or 4 days.
Are they giving us any money?
Yes, 3,000.
No, it's good.
That's the offer.
Mm-hmm. Sounds pretty good. As long as they're not doing any damage and they're putting things back the way they found it.
Yeah, they're pretty good. These film companies are pretty good about that, and of course we signed an agreement that things will be restored. Yeah, they're not even filming inside, so
Mhm. Yeah. Great.
Okay. Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate it.
So can we wait until the board meeting then to approve contracting with them? I mean, you said as soon as possible. That's not that far away.
yeah, they called on Monday. They would have liked an answer right then. I'm just saying that's how they operate.
Well, but how do people feel? Are we leaning toward favoring this?
I'm in favor of it.
Yeah.
I see Evelyn shaking her head.
Yep.
Jerry says yes. Kirsten says yes. So,
I think it's important for the city, you know, again, it's really the city who's sort of leading this, but
so I think you can tell them that we are favoring it, but we need to have an official action of our board to approve signing of the contract. Do you think that will suffice?
I can try.
Okay,
Well, if it doesn't suffice, then we could do another special meeting
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
sometimes early next week and then,
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes.
well, again, it's trying to get everybody together, and when we do things that are special like that, not everybody can come. So that's why we try to avoid it. Also, we need to publicize it ahead of time.
right,
I-
we just don't want to lose out on this.
I could say in the minutes of this meeting here that we will have, that the committee and the board representatives on the committee are supportive of the proposal to allow this filming, if that's helpful.
We could say that the building committee recommends it, if the building committee wants to do that. We've kind of done that with other things that, you know, we needed official action on.
Yeah.
So does someone want to make a motion?
So moved.
And Evelyn, are you seconding?
Sure.
So the building committee recommends to the board that they approve a contract with the Gilded Age folks. I don't remember the name of the firm,
It's called Heyday Productions.
to film the exterior of the public library building.
Sounds good.
All in favor?
Okay, the second item, oh,
No, I'm just in favor.
okay. Did I not? Sorry, I was trying to give the language to Michelle. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstaining? The motion carries unanimously. I'm sorry, you should be doing this, Kirsten. What am I doing?
I'm actually, and I'm typing meeting notes too, so. I'm not
I
sure.
know it's difficult. The
So.
second item that arose today was Paul mentioned that the Lansingburg branch is 200 years old this year. Paul, did you have anything in mind to occur in recognition of that?
Well, not really. It's the first, it's the initial building was dated 1820. But, you know, the library portion was added, I guess around 1900. I don't have an exact date on that. Yeah, it's true that the initial Academy building is 200 years old. It's still standing.
Well, I think it'd be, if there's an opportunity to do some promotional work around that, it'd be a great opportunity to, that doesn't come around that often, to, you know, reach out to the public and let them know some of the history of.
Well, I tried, a few years ago, I tried to get a plaque because that building, so they tell me it's the oldest building in the state continually used for educational purposes. Which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
But they told me the plaques, they don't make the plaques anymore. You know, New York State, the history plaque thing. I mean, we'd
Yeah.
have to do it on our own. But I thought that would be nice to have that out in front.
Mhm. What about teaming up with the Lansingburg Historical Society to plan some kind of event or some, you know, however we're able to do it, you know, virtually or not,
Well,
but
yeah,
maybe
that'd be
something
good. I mean,
conjunction.
it would be interesting.
So it
Mhm.
sounds like we want to do something, and perhaps the building committee can continue to discuss that. as to what should occur?
I'm certainly open to that. I think then I'll be interested in touching base with a few other folks and seeing how we can leverage this and to promote this with local media, and what we can, maybe we can add something to our website that speaks to that. So
The
that-
bookseller, the Friends of the Library might want to be involved also.
Sure.
I can speak to the city about the fact and see if they have anything to contribute.
What about doing some kind of a program where we have reenactors as Herman Melville and what was his name? Rutherford B. Hayes and some of the other prominent Lansingburg people, you know, like we do the Famous Ladies' Tea, only different, like kind of that on that theme, and maybe people from the Historical Society would be interested or not.
And that would be
I don't know, I'm just
educational.
thinking of some, yeah, I'm just thinking of something that would just be a little bit different than, and maybe get people a little more involved.
And it's the kind of thing that people may be looking for this year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we'd be able to do it, whether it'd have to be virtual or not, but
Well, if it's out of doors,
yeah,
then, you know, things will probably be amenable. I mean, I don't know when in 1820 the building was
right. I'm sure we can find
officialized.
out.
But, you know, I don't know that we necessarily have to do it on a particular date, which
Right.
if we scheduled it later, the possibilities would probably be greater.
Mhm.
we have a whole year we can celebrate here. We don't have to be limited to the one date. I think it gives us more opportunities to spread it out and make a bigger event out of it, rather than just a one-day thing.
Paul, do you want to talk with the staff about it? They may have ideas.
Sure.
Have you spoken with them? Have already?
It hasn't been a subject yet, no. I think the thing to do is to talk with the Lansingburg Historical Society people.
And I can certainly, you know, I have some contacts I can connect us with in terms of plaques. We often have plaques involved with buildings that we work on, so that's certainly something that's relatively easy to do. Doesn't need to be done through an organization. We can certainly have one designed and fabricated, and that's not hugely, shouldn't be hugely expensive. It's just
Yeah,
a
the
matter of the,
Try Little Italy does it for different places, so they would be a resource. My guess there would be a resource. He does it, you know, he's been very involved in doing that. Some of the South Troy stuff.
Now we gotta, I have to verify some of these things, you know, as well. Right now, it's a little hazy in my mind in terms of when it actually was built and that sort of thing.
No, we can find those things out. Talk to Kathy Sheehan.
Or even the folks
Sorry.
involved with the Lansingburg Historical Society
Yeah,
too, may have lots of information.
Warren
done-
Broad.
They've done various things. Wally Wheeler gave me the back from a brush that was used to commemorate something or other
Mhm.
about the library.
Speaking of brushes, did you know there was a toilet brush factory in Lansingburg? Yeah, and I don't know if you've been following the Hazel Drew story, the Hazel Drew movie, but they're zeroing in that the killer was a local dentist,
Mhm.
and or either him or his father-in-law, because they didn't want a scandal. his father-in-law, who was the owner of the toilet brush factory, and they showed an ad of him being, so-and-so. I mean, it's odd to think of, somebody advertising their toilet brushes, but I guess it's a big deal.
Well, the backing I have is not from a toilet brush.
Right. I don't think they have backs.
Oh,
There were several brush factories. I guess they specialized.
It was so how are we going to conclude that? We think about this and discuss it at the next building committee, or all people have an opportunity to explore some of the things that we've talked about?
I know we've got some folks here at the library who are involved in promotions and planning and communications. It seems like we'd want to make sure that they're included in that process. So I'm not sure, are there people on staff who focus on that, or are there people who, I know at one point we had talked about having a promotions committee or development committee. Is this something that, is there another committee that you think this is the best committee to fit into?
I don't really, yeah, I think probably it's the best one that we have currently.
Okay.
But certainly, I would expect that the staff who do the promotion currently would be involved in doing that.
Maybe the friends would like to be involved in that too. Maybe the friends would like to be involved in some of the promotion. I don't know.
Yes. They might be willing to pay for the plaque,
Well, there you go.
present it to the library.
Yeah. I mean, if you'd like, I can get in touch with Mike and find out what process he's gone through and where he's going to get the plaques, et cetera. That would be
Getting the plaques is pretty straightforward. I've got a few sources, and certainly
okay.
hearing what Mike's using, if there's someone local, that'd be great.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, the more information we can have, the easier it is.
Yeah.
And then if you'd like, figure out with the Historical Society what they want to do, but there's also, if you want to do the reenacting, I have friends who are hams. I have a lot of friends in theater who might be interested in doing characters or not. I mean, or there may be other people, community people who want to do it too. So
I think one of them was actually a board member at one point. Might be interested.
who's that?
Linda.
Oh, Linda. Oh, right. Yes, of course.
And she's done
She's going to be in Famous Ladies this year.
She's done reenactments with the Lansingburg Historical Society.
Oh, she has with the Lansingburg too. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So it sounds like we have the beginning of a plan.
Yeah.
Does anyone have contact with anyone at the Lansingburg Historical Society?
I'm a member. I'm a lifelong member with
Oh,
them.
there you go.
Would you be willing to reach out to them and see if, query their interest and whether they have any insights into the branch and the buildings at the branch?
I can. Is that okay with you, Paul?
Yes,
Okay.
this is not necessarily my forte, so you're welcome to carry on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Maria. Appreciate it.
Item 3 is the best of them all. Evelyn and Paul and I were advocating with our local legislators today. It was Advocacy Day for libraries. And one of the things that was mentioned by one of the staff people was that we should be ready to have a shovel-ready project and actually even be promoting it now. Paul, did you have any thoughts on that? that kind of perked up my ears.
Yes, I certainly did. It's interesting that that much money might be coming our way. My major thought was the HVAC system at the main library. It's very costly. It's a very large, complicated problem. It's a very much needed solution to our environment. We currently have a historic structures report going on. And one element to that is the HVAC system to be inspected by engineers. My thought was to put in the front and see if we can get some answers early on from engineers in terms of how to proceed. And basically, from that point, we would need to put together, actual bid documents and scope of work and that sort of thing, which is a lot more complicated and a lot more expensive. But, it wouldn't hurt to be that ready, at this point.
This is similar to what occurred back in response to 2008. And I'm sure you remember that, Paul, which is probably an advantage that you have over some of the other directors. But I remember that we weren't able to get any money toward the elevator project because it wasn't shovel ready. So it would be nice if we could be further ahead this time. Also, there's Lansingburg too that needs HVAC, right?
Not as much because the system in place, for example, is pretty well usable. I mean, we've done some modifications to make that work. Plus, the library itself is air conditioned. So really, the overall need is with the main library. And I don't know how to approach the whole thing. I mean, there's issues. There's total HVAC issues. There's heating and both heating and cooling issues. How do we, how do we look at that? How do we approach that? I don't know. I mean, I'm not a heating engineer. I don't know. I have the foggiest idea. I mean, the place has, 120-year-old radiators that are pretty much unreliable. The actual hot water system is unreliable. The delivery system, the actual boiler is not too bad. But then you've got the air conditioning issue. How do we approach that? I mean, we don't have hot air. I mean, we don't have an air circulating system nowhere in the building. I mean, we would have to add that on if we were to go, to provide air conditioning. I don't know how you do that. I have no idea. That's why though we have engineers, and Messick Cohen has already got these people on board to take a look at the HVAC system we have. All I'm saying is push that ahead, make that the first priority right now, so that we can at least put together what it is we need to do, how we need to approach the system.
Did the people that you spoke with today, did they give any hints about what size project they're talking about? Are they saying, oh, we should be planning for something that's in the millions of dollars? Or we're talking about something in the hundreds of thousands of dollars? And, I think we could.
A lot of things have been thrown around. The only thing I've heard is, $500,000. That's, what we're, this is a very expensive project.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was. So the whole air conditioning, whole heating an HV air conditioning upgrade could be $500,000, it could be $2 million, it could be
Yeah.
more. So that's what did the state say that we should be? They say we should have a shovel-ready project. And I just want to make sure that we're targeting our shovel-ready project to be of a size that they would anticipate. If they say, hey, we only have $500,000 available, and we come with a $2 million project, that's not going to be a good fit.
Well, we
Or-
have to know exactly what we want to do, and we have to have an estimate of how much that's gonna cost. We have to have at least the scope of work, if not full bid document.
But they didn't give us a hint about what size project we should be coming forward with.
Not really.
They talked about big ones.
What's
Yeah,
big for
How
them?
big?
The thing to also remember is this came from one legislative aide who's usually very sharp. She knows, I mean, she's usually the one that asks the best question, the, most insightful questions. She's also on another library board herself and has been on the CDLC board. So she's very connected to what's going on.
Whose aide is she?
she was-
Who is, whose aide is she?
Pat
Pat
Fahey's?
Fahey's.
They, okay.
So, but she didn't give us the numbers, but it's one person. You don't know we don't yet
Right.
know how it's gonna roll out. It's good to be prepared. I know there's libraries that have folders, file cabinets with folders of the project to pull out next, depending on availability of funds.
Mhm.
So we need to be prepared with that shovel-ready project, but there's been no indication of the actual dollar amount, and they won't know I think the next piece for them to know what they're working with is going to be mid-March. They're still going for an April 1st budget,
Yeah.
but they won't have some of the numbers they need to really start negotiating till mid-March. Instead
So
of,
it
So
sounds like,
is this the state? I thought she was referring to money coming from the feds,
was it Fed
stimulus
money?
money coming from the feds.
For state support,
Right.
the state gets to spend it.
Yeah.
And
So
determine where it goes.
it's trickle down money.
so it sounds like it'd be great if we could sort of look at a range of projects, so we could have, some small, medium, and large projects that we could present something to them when they say, hey, give me what's your $2 million project you want to do? Oh, here's that one. Or what's our $100,000 project we want to do? Here's a different one. Sounds like we need to have a few different things in the
Well,
hopper that we can.
Probably the problem here, Kirsten, is that shovel-ready projects are gonna cost us, they're gonna cost us quite a bit to get ready.
Yes.
So I don't know, doing 2 or 3 of these things.
I just want to make sure we have something that's the right size. I'm struggling a little bit to try and understand what they're looking for.
Mhm.
If they want a $50 million project, sure, we'll give them a $50 million project. I don't even know what range we're talking about. Big means different things to different people.
Paul, do you know what kinds of projects they've funded last time to stimulate the economy?
No, I don't know. I don't remember.
No, I don't. I probably just wasn't even conscious of.
It's
To
really
that
short
extent.
brief, and we didn't have anything ready, and that was it.
We could say, let's rebuild the HVAC and air conditioning system for the entire building. Or we can take that and break into little chunks. So let's design the whole thing and let's design it in pieces. So we could do the first floor and the second floors, or we can do the whole thing, or we can just do the archive room. That might be one way of looking at one project that could be broken up into different size pieces, so that when they come forward with this money, we can give them something that's going to fit their opportunity.
Could I
I
ask
like
a
that
question?
of the HVAC system, if that's possible to get it done.
Can I ask a question? And maybe it's premature. I don't even know if this would work or not in this building. But what about doing something like heat pumps or geothermal. I don't know what any of these things would cost or if they're possible in this building, but they would be less dependent on fossil fuels. And the sort of antiquated system that we have. I'm only talking about this because I've been thinking about what I would do here once I can't get gas to run my furnace anymore. And someone suggested heat pumps or geothermal, which I don't think I can do a geothermal project here. But I'm just wondering if we want to look at those kinds of things rather than, refitting sort of the things we already have. And maybe that's all premature, but that might be part of what, what would attract money. That it's thinking outside the box a little bit.
Do you want to speak to this, Kirsten, or do you want me to?
Well, I was thinking of you, of course. And so Marie has heard of some projects in downtown that talk about geothermal. And so Marie, you want to give us an update on what you've?
I don't have a lot of information, but the city has talked about doing some kind of geothermal project in the area.
To power the city, wouldn't that
Pardon?
be great?
The area of
Geothermal to power the city?
A portion
well,
of the city.
looking specific right now, the county and Russell Sage, and we're right there as well. And we're at least on their minds.
Mhm.
At least when I talk to them, they say that they have brought us up rather than our having to bring us up. But those, many things take a very long time. When I talked with Kirsten about it, he said that that's like a utility and that doesn't need, we can proceed with working on HVAC updates without having to worry about them not being in a position to take advantage of geothermal should it become available.
We don't have enough property at the downtown branch to do geothermal on our own.
On our own, right.
We
Okay.
could connect to a geothermal loop if that's available as part of a downtown infrastructure piece.
Mhm.
And that'd be a very good thing to do, especially if you wanted to look at air conditioning. Geothermal and heat pumps work very well if you're doing both air conditioning and heating.
Mhm.
If we're going to do air conditioning, that could trigger other concerns in the building. Old buildings were not designed with air conditioning in mind. And if you start air conditioning an old building, you can end up with condensation or moisture problems. And especially in rooms that don't have good air circulation, but you end up cooling the building, you can end up with condensation, which would be a problem for our historic building and for our historic artifacts within the building. So paper materials would, of course, be very badly affected by condensation problems. So there's the simple, relatively simple piece about the piece of equipment that would provide air conditioning, but there's the larger question about making sure the building functions appropriately so we don't create problems for the artifacts that are inside the building, historic maps or books or things like that. So it is part of a large question and needs to be dealt with carefully. And that's the sort of thing that Misek, Cohen, Wilson Baker and their consultants should be in a good position to advise us on. It's not a simple question, though, that will get answered very quickly. Now, if we want to make it a priority, we may be able to extract some pieces from that and accelerate that process. And I think I heard suggestion that we try and have a shovel-ready project ready by April. Is that what I think I heard?
I don't know. The staff person said to be starting to advocate for a project right now, even though one might not have all the details nailed down, that that it would still be good to be advocating with the legislators for funding of that, of a particular project. Paul, Evelyn, is that what you heard too?
Yeah, I didn't get a specific timeline here. But yeah, she did talk about putting this thing together now.
Well, I think we certainly could start putting things together. It makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to, if they're looking to have quotations and exact scope of work and technical drawings by April, I don't think that's likely. But
No, but I mean, if we could get, I mean, we don't even know anything about this. I mean, how to proceed at all. You know, it wouldn't hurt to move this thing to the front and get some idea of what we're talking about.
yeah, I agree. And I would be very supportive of that, from my personal opinion. And things that we can do to support that effort, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I think we have a lot of justification in that libraries are often mentioned as cooling stations during our hotter temperatures. And so it's very sad that if anything, our library has to close down during those times because we don't have any air conditioning. And also at times because we don't have heat.
What a disappointment it is come in August and looking for a cooling station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could have cold water to drink.
Not
Well,
good
What
at
about
it.
awnings? What about putting up awnings? I mean, they wouldn't do the complete job, but they certainly would help some.
Well,
I mean, that's the way that they used to do all the cooling before.
They had awnings on the building years ago. I can't remember. I don't know which years, but there's some pictures of the main library with awnings.
That's how they did the cooling. I mean, awnings and shutters and things like that. to
They
keep the
had a
sun-
whole system of cooling, again, in the 19th century. And some of the vents in the building were designed specifically to provide some of that cooling. Some of them have been closed off at this point. We're not even sure how the whole thing worked or whether it worked at all. But there were things done in the 19th century to alleviate some of the heat.
Mhm.
And apparently the pandemic in 1917 also led to increased interest in ventilation inside buildings. So opening windows, having air circulation ducts, that was really brought out by that pandemic back then. So
Yeah, we have gone back to that. We have a whole system of opening windows in the building during this pandemic.
there we go. What's old is new again.
course.
So, I'm sorry, Evelyn?
I was gonna say, if anyone ever goes to awnings, make sure they're fireproof because they seem to be arson indulgent. I was actually in a house where teenagers threw matches at the awnings and the house almost went, totally in flames. So beware.
Yes.
That's right.
Are there any next steps?
Awnings
we
made of
need to do?
asbestos.
Are there any next steps we need to do for this advocacy, to prepare for this advocacy, or to develop a next project? How can we assist with this process?
Well, if there's any sign-on letters or requests to participate in reaching out to any of your legislators, do so. You can always highlight, depending on how the letter is written, the construction needs. So that's one huge thing. Saying thank you, notes to your legislators. They really do like that and appreciate hearing from their constituents. So those are a couple of the things we can do now. And as the process unfolds, there'll probably be some more things that maybe we can do post. And again, advocacy is a year-long thing. It's not just this time of year. And we're reminded that often.
Is somebody going to talk with MISIC?
Well, I guess I can.
I certainly can. Yeah, Paul, I think you're the designated primary contact there. So
I'll get you to back me up, though.
I'd be happy to. And of course, very happy to. I just don't want to send mixed messages. So, Paul, if you want to set something up, I'm happy to join you in that conversation.
Is there anything else we should do?
I can also talk to people, find out how we best get a project on the list, so to speak.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for the update. This is good. Good to hear that these opportunities are coming up, and certainly preparing for those opportunities is important. And obviously we don't want to spend money churning through potential projects that never happen, but if we can identify a big project or pieces of a big project that are things we do want to do that makes sense, if that opportunity opens up, we want to be prepared for that.
Well, and this is something that needs to be done, so one assumes that it will be done at some time,
Yeah, we
even if
don't
not
lose anything.
this year. Pardon?
We don't lose anything here.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Plus, we've already got the people in place to at least give us the direction.
I just hope that we can pull something together that is what they're looking for, and we pull it together in a timely fashion so that they can do that, so they can act on it. But that's the big question mark. Well, thanks for the update. That's great. Any other building related pieces we want to touch base on today? Nothing further being heard. Then I would ask, I think our next meeting is scheduled for the 19th of March. That's the third Friday. That we're going to the 4th.
We're supposed to do the 4th.
The 4th. My bad. It'll get through my head eventually. That would be the 26th then.
And you know what we forgot to do was to say who was present at this meeting.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. We did not do that. Marie, you want to announce yourself?
Marie Gavazzi.
And Paul?
Paul Hickok?
And Michelle?
Michelle, Hayward Cooper.
And Jerry? Jerry's muted.
Sorry, Jerry DeSav.
And Evelyn?
Evelyn Pax Greenstein.
And Joy?
Joy Chard here.
And I'm Kirsten Lorscher. I just sort of went in order here as you appear on the screen. So thank you for your indulgence on that. Okay, next meeting scheduled for the 26th of March at 4 o'clock. And if there's nothing else, then I move that we close this meeting.
Hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy our nicer weather.
Everybody else.
Yeah,
Thank you,
see you guys.
everybody. Thank
Bye.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.